Before we begin, can I ask you something? We've seen that thousands of people are watching our videos but not subscribing. It makes us feel really down because we put our heart and soul into every single video. So please, if you're here right now, subscribe to Mr. Horrorist and turn on the bell. We really need your support to continue making these stories. I'm begging you, don't scroll past this. Hit subscribe now. Thank you so much. I wasn't supposed to be in Chicago. Nobody plans to get stranded. You just end up there, stuck between where you came from and where you're trying to go, sitting under fluorescent lights at midnight, watching snow pile against terminal windows like the world is slowly being buried. My connecting flight to Detroit got pushed to 6 a.m., 7 hours. The gate agent said it with the kind of smile that meant good luck, then disappeared before I could ask a follow-up question. Terminal C was nearly empty by then. A janitor pushed a mop bucket somewhere behind me, the wheels squeaking against polished floors. A few passengers were slumped across rows of seats, coats pulled over their faces. The kind of sleep that isn't really sleep, just the body shutting down because it has nothing else to do. I found a seat near gate 9 and plugged my phone into the charging station. Nothing happened. I tried the next station, then the next. 4 charging stations in a row, all dead. I figured it was the storm messing with the power, which, fine. Annoying, but fine. I set my dead phone in my lap and stared at the departure board. That's when I saw it. 2:13 a.m. The board flickered just once, like a hiccup, and for a split second between a delayed United flight and a canceled Delta, a new line appeared. Bellhaven Gate, 14. Boarding. I blinked. It was gone. I told myself I imagined it. I told myself I was tired. 7 hours in an airport at 2 o'clock in the morning does things to your eyes. Makes you see patterns where there aren't any. But I kept staring at the board. And I kept thinking, Gate 14. I'd walked the entire length of Terminal C twice that night. Gates only went up to 11. After gate 11, there was a wall, a water fountain in front of it, a vending machine to the left selling chips nobody had bought in hours. There was no gate 14. I don't know why I got up. Maybe it was boredom. Maybe it was the cold the terminal had dropped at least 10 degrees since midnight, and I couldn't stop shivering. Maybe I just needed to walk somewhere to feel like I was doing something. I went past gate 11, past the water fountain, past the vending machine, and there, where I was certain there had been nothing before, was a hallway. Narrow, dimly lit. A sign overhead with an arrow pointing right. Gates 12 through 14. I stood there for a long moment, then I followed it. The further I walked, the quieter it got. Not the normal quiet of a late-night airport, the background hum of climate control, the distant beep of a cart, the muffled sound of CNN playing somewhere far away. This was different. This was the kind of quiet that presses against your ears. Like the air itself had thickened. No announcements, no footsteps, but mine. Just the low buzz of fluorescent lights above me. A sound I hadn't noticed before, because there was always something louder, drowning it out. Now there was nothing louder. The lights got dimmer as I walked. The carpet changed too. The newer gray geometric pattern gave way to something older, brownish, worn flat in the middle from years of foot traffic. The walls changed. Cream-colored paint with scuff marks along the bottom. Old-style signage. the kind with plastic letters slotted into black felt boards. I told myself the airport had an older section, that renovations didn't always reach every corner, that this was perfectly normal. I almost believed it. Then I heard the clocks, ticking, loud mechanical ticking, the kind analog wall clocks make, the kind that only exists in old schoolrooms, waiting rooms, places that haven't updated since before digital became everything. 1 clock, then 2. Then I rounded a corner, and there were 6 of them hanging in a row. Every single one reading 2:13 a.m. Perfectly synchronized, perfectly correct. I knew because that's what my dead phone had read when I'd last checked it. I stopped walking. At the end of the hallway was a door, and above the door, a sign. Gate 14. The waiting area looked like a photograph from another decade. Brown carpet. Orange plastic seats arranged in rows. Cigarette ashtrays on metal stands between every other chair, the kind airports ripped out 30 years ago. At the far end sat a check-in desk. Behind it stood a flight attendant smiling warmly, wearing a uniform I'd only ever seen in old airline commercials. Boarding will begin shortly. There were maybe 20 passengers seated throughout the area. No one looked up when I entered. No one shifted. No one checked their phone. No one did any of the things people normally do while waiting. They just sat there, hands folded, eyes forward. I scanned the room. A woman in a rust-colored dress, hair pinned up in a style fashionable a long time ago. A man in a 3-piece suit with a pager clipped to his belt. A teenager with a Walkman resting on his lap. Headphone cord coiled neatly beside him. Not one of them blinked. I told myself I was dreaming. I told myself I'd fallen asleep back at Gate 9, and none of this was real. Then I saw the frame on the wall. A newspaper clipping mounted behind glass. The paper yellowed at the edges. A photograph of a plane, and beneath it, a headline. I stepped closer to read it. Bellhaven Flight, 702 missing since 1981. 43 passengers unaccounted for. Search suspended. My hands went cold. The man in the 3-piece suit turned his head, slowly. The way things move in dreams, slightly too smooth, like something mechanical underneath the skin. He looked directly at me. "You're late," he whispered. Behind the check-in desk, the flight attendant kept smiling. "Boarding will begin shortly." Then the gate door opened. There was no jet bridge behind it, no runway, no snow, no Chicago night, just darkness, absolute darkness, the kind that has weight to it, the kind you could step into and never find your way back out of. I ran. The hallway was wrong. I sprinted back the way I'd come, but the carpet stayed brown. The walls stayed cream-colored. The clocks kept ticking. I turned left where I was certain I'd turned right, and ended up back at Gate 14. I turned right, ran until my lungs burned. Gate 14, every corridor looped back, every sign pointed toward the gate, every clock on every wall still read 2:13 a.m. I looked down at my hand. I was holding a boarding pass. I hadn't touched anything, hadn't spoken to anyone. I didn't have a boarding pass when I walked in. But there it was. And where the passenger name should have been, in clean black print, it read, "Passenger added to flight 702. I think I screamed. I don't actually remember. What I do remember is running. Trying every door, every maintenance corridor, every unmarked exit. Until finally I found one that opened. A narrow tunnel, concrete walls, cold as the inside of a freezer. and somewhere deep inside it, I heard crying, a baby crying. I followed it. Security found me on the tarmac at 5:47 a.m. Barefoot. Both shoes lost somewhere I still can't explain. I was sitting in the snow with my knees pulled to my chest. They said I was incoherent. I told them I probably was. They checked the terminal. Gate 9. The hallway near the vending machine. The wall where the corridor had supposedly been. Nothing. Just a wall. Airport records confirmed it 3 days later. Terminal C had never contained a Gate 14. The terminal was built in 1987, and no construction plan, renovation permit, or architectural drawing had ever included one. Historians confirmed the rest. Bellhaven Flight 702 disappeared during a storm on March 9, 1981. Somewhere between Minneapolis and a small regional airport that no longer exists. 43 passengers. No wreckage was ever found. The search was suspended after 11 days. The case is still classified as open. But the last thing I learned, the detail I wish I'd never heard, came from an airport security officer who reviewed the CCTV footage from that night. He called me a week later. He stayed quiet for a long time before finally speaking. He told me the footage showed me sitting in Terminal C at Gate 9, in the same chair where I'd started, talking for 2 hours and 23 minutes. I sat completely alone in an empty terminal, talking to no one. He asked me what I remembered. I didn't tell him about the carpet or the clocks or the boarding pass. I just told him I didn't remember anything. That part, at least, was almost true. I still have the boarding pass. I don't know why I kept it. I don't know why I can't throw it away. It sits in the back of a drawer in my apartment, and sometimes I open the drawer just to check. It still says 2:13 a.m. on the timestamp. It always says 2:13 a.m. My father's hands were the first thing I forgot. I don't mean I forgot them gradually, the way memory softens things over years. I mean, one morning I reached for the image, and it wasn't there. Like a file, deleted clean, like it had never existed. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It started in Atlanta. I'd been awake for 22 hours. By the time my connecting flight got canceled, I was running on bad coffee and the kind of exhaustion that sits behind your eyes and makes everything feel slightly unreal. The kind of exhaustion you earn at a funeral. 3 days of relatives hugging you too hard, telling you he was in a better place, asking if you were okay in a tone that really meant, please say yes so we don't have to keep asking. I wasn't okay, but I said yes. Now I was stranded in Hartsfield-Jackson at midnight with a ticket, rebooked for 6 a.m. and nowhere to go. The terminal was nearly empty. Gate agents had gone home. The food court sat dark behind metal shutters. I found a seat beneath a flickering light because, of course, it was flickering, and tried to make peace with 5 hours of nothing. That's when he approached me. I didn't hear him coming. 1 second I was alone. The next, he was standing 3 feet away, hands clasped behind his back. And the thing that struck me first, before anything else, was how still he was. No fidgeting, no shifting weight. Just perfectly, completely still. He wore a TSA uniform, dark pants, light blue shirt. The standard government-issued look, but something about it was slightly wrong. The collar style, the cut of the fabric. Some tiny detail I couldn't quite identify that made it feel less like a TSA uniform and more like a replica of one. His name tag was scratched down to bare metal. No name. Nothing. Security reopened downstairs, he said, and his voice was flat and even, like a recording of someone speaking instead of a person actually speaking. Faster route to your gate? Less waiting? I should have said no. I know that now. But I was exhausted and cold, and the terminal had already started feeling wrong. Not dramatically wrong, not movie wrong, just subtly, persistently wrong. The way a room feels when a piece of furniture has been moved and you can't identify which one. I'd tried checking the airport map on my phone twice, and both times I'd ended up more confused than before. Hallways I was certain went left seemed to go right. The terminal felt longer than it had an hour ago. So when he turned and started walking, I followed. We went down. An elevator I hadn't noticed before. No floor numbers on the buttons, just arrows. He pressed the down arrow. The doors opened immediately without the usual pause. The lower level hallways were different, narrower, the ceiling lower. The lights were old fluorescent tubes instead of LEDs, buzzing at a frequency right on the edge of uncomfortable. The air smelled like recycled airport air. Always smells stale and artificial, but there was something underneath it. Something older. I started counting security cameras out of habit. There weren't any, not one. I noticed it in the second hallway and told myself I'd missed them. By the fourth hallway, I knew I hadn't. No cameras, no mounting brackets. Nothing, just smooth ceiling tile, stretching endlessly overhead. The agent walked ahead of me without looking back. His footsteps made no sound, which made absolutely no sense on a hard floor. I looked up. The water stains on the ceiling were shaped like faces, not obviously, not cartoonishly. The way clouds become faces when you stare at them too long. Except, I hadn't been staring. I glanced up once and saw them immediately, dozens of them. Dark brown stains shaped unmistakably like eyes, a nose, an open mouth, every single one looking down. I stopped walking. The agent stopped too, not because he heard me, I hadn't made a sound. He just stopped. Not far now, he said, still facing forward. I should have turned around. I want you to understand why I didn't. I'd just spent 3 days in my childhood home watching my father's friends carry a casket. I was running on grief and no sleep. The part of my brain that assesses danger was underwater. Following was easier than thinking. So I kept going. We reached the checkpoint. It was small, low-ceilinged, hidden at the end of a service corridor. And the first word that came to mind was old. The equipment was old. The conveyor belt was old. A rubber black belt with worn metal rollers, the kind you'd see in decade-old photographs of airport security. Nothing like the modern systems upstairs. And the belt was moving by itself. No one operated it. No one sat at the control panel. It just looped endlessly. Trays emerging, disappearing, returning again. There were people in line, maybe 12 of them, standing as motionless as the agent had. No phones, no conversations, no impatient shifting. Just perfect, geometric stillness. And something inside me tightened the second I looked at them because they were not okay. Whatever was behind their eyes was very far away. The agent gestured to the back of the line. Standard procedure, he said. Place all personal items in the tray, a pause, then including memories. I laughed. A short, nervous sound. He didn't react. The line moved. A woman near the front, maybe in her 50s, reading glasses hanging from a beaded chain, opened her purse. She placed her wallet in the tray, her keys. Then she reached inside again and removed a photograph. A little girl, 6 years old maybe, gap-toothed, grinning. The woman placed the photograph into the tray without looking at it. Then she started crying. Not dramatic crying, no sobbing. Just silent tears running down her face while she stared at the photograph, like she already couldn't remember why it mattered. Like she was watching something leave her that she hadn't agreed to lose. The man behind her removed a wedding ring from his finger. Business casual, carry on at his feet. His hand trembled as he placed the ring into the tray. Then, the shaking stopped. His expression went smooth, blank. The line moved again. A teenage boy placed a folded drawing into the tray. I could see crayon marks along the edges. Then he stood upright, blinked slowly, twice, and became someone else. The version of him that had drawn the picture was in the tray now. Something had been taken and not returned. I needed to leave, but I was already at the front of the line. The agent stood behind the scanner now, back turned toward me. "Place your items in the tray," he said. I think I went the wrong way. I'm just gonna head back upstairs." "Place your items in the tray." "I don't want to." He turned around. I've spent months trying to find the right words for what I saw next. I keep returning to the same description because it's the closest thing I have to accurate. His face was gone, not damaged, not hidden, gone. Smooth, unbroken skin stretched from hairline to chin across a head-shaped space where a face should have been. No eyes, no nose, no mouth, just skin. And somehow, I still knew he was looking directly at me. The scanners erupted into alarms, beeping, loud, urgent, one after another, the rejection sound repeating endlessly. The faceless agent tilted his head. "You're still holding on," he said. The voice came from nowhere, from everywhere. "Let go." A pause. "It will hurt less." I ran. I don't remember the hallways clearly. I remember movement. I remember panic. I remember the airport PA system crackling to life. Then my mother's voice filled the corridor. My actual mother's voice. Perfectly accurate, using the exact cadence she used when I was 7 years old. She recited the address of my childhood home. Then my father's voice started reading a bedtime story he used to tell me. Word for word. Stories no recording existed of. Things only my memory should have held. The airport was pulling them out of me like thread. I slammed through a door marked "Emergency Exit." The alarm screamed. I hit the stairwell and ran upward without stopping. Up, 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 until the air changed. LED lights, cleaner air circulation, the distant sound of a floor polisher somewhere far away. The normal terminal. I collapsed there and didn't move until a security officer found me. I told them I got lost in a service corridor. They believed me, or pretended to. For 3 weeks, I thought I'd escaped clean. Then one morning I reached for my father's voice, and it wasn't there. Not faded, not softened by time. Gone. The specific sound of it, the way he said my name, the laugh that always started low before opening up, erased. I can describe what remembering it should feel like, but the memory itself is missing. The photograph on my parents' mantle, my 8th birthday, my father's arm around my shoulders, means nothing to me now. No warmth, no grief, nothing. Like looking at strangers. Parts of my childhood have gone silent in a way that has no name. 2 months later, I was at another airport, different city, routine work trip. I made it through security without incident. I was already past the checkpoint when I caught my reflection in a long terminal window overlooking the tarmac. He was standing in the reflection. The faceless agent, 20 feet behind me. Hands clasped behind his back, perfectly still, and behind him, stretching endlessly through the terminal, was a line of people, dozens of them, standing motionless, facing forward, waiting. I spun around. Nobody was there. I still travel for work. I don't have a choice. But now I check every TSA name tag I pass. Every single one, because one of these days, one of them is going to be scratched down to bare metal. And next time, I don't know if I'll be able to run.